Hello and welcome to your second stimulus check and stimulus package update. Things were pretty grim where we left off yesterday. The president wanted to halt negotiations with Democrats. Pelsoi and Mnuchin just can't seem to find a happy middle in their negotiations, and the stock market was on bated breath, waiting to hear the news of Trump's health and what he was going to tweet next. After doing my update yesterday, I was finishing up thinking, this might be my last stimulus update that I do in quite a while. But I forgot that this is 2020, and since yesterday, a lot has happened. Our president was tweeting until almost midnight last night after his announcement of no more relief package negotiations from his side until after the election. The Twitter feed for Trump in the last 15 hours has been quite the unique journey, to say the least. Wading through the storm of tweets, there is what seems to be some good news for the American people. Trump started by tweeting, and this is an exact quote from him, "The House and Senate should immediately approve $25 billion for the Airline Payroll Support and $135 billion for Paycheck Protection Program for small businesses. Both of these will be fully paid for with unused funds from the CARES Act. Have this money, I will sign now." That was his tweet. This alone was a bit of a shock in the quick change of mindset from just a few hours earlier where he said, no more stimulus. He might have felt some of the backlash and thought, okay, how can I make this position a little bit better? Then he followed that tweet by saying he would sign a standalone bill now, today, for the $1,200 direct stimulus checks to the people. The exact tweet there was, "If I am sent a standalone bill for stimulus checks, $1,200, they will go out to our great people immediately. I am ready to sign right now. Are you listening, Nancy?" And then tagged a bunch of people who are part of the negotiations. So by now, everyone is thinking, what is even happening anymore? Some of them are saying this is classic art of the deal and he's being a good negotiator, and others are saying he's just cherry-picking stimulus items that will help him in the elections. The art of the deal position is an interesting one, and excuse us, but I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent here because this is just too interesting not to talk about. For those of you who don't know, The Art of the Deal is a book that Trump wrote, and it's part autobiography and part deal-making handbook. After I first saw it mentioned yesterday that this is a classic tactic Trump wrote about in his book, I Googled The Art of the Deal, walk away to see if there was any mention in the book where he talks about walking away from a deal as a negotiation tactic. That way I could just build up some more context and maybe tell you, hey, this is probably what's happening because he's wrote about this exact thing in other deal-making situations. Well, this led me to a tweet from Trump from 2011 that says, "Know when to walk away from the table," in quotes, followed by the words, "The Art of the Deal." It was written like it's a direct quote from the book, and I was thinking, well, there you have it. He's Art of the Deal in Congress. However, I thankfully followed my journalistic instincts and decided to find that quote in the book. That way I could read, the paragraphs around it and get the context of the quote itself. So I got the digital version of the book and read the book, but I couldn't find that quote anywhere. In fact, the phrase "walk away" appears 3 times in the book, but none of those in reference to walking away from a deal as a negotiation tactic. So I'm not sure what's going on here. Either this is some kind of Mandela effect where everyone, including Trump, thinks The Art of the Deal talks about walking away from deals to negotiate something, but that actually never happened. Or there's like a second version of this book somewhere and I'm missing something completely. But it seems to me like it's the first option there, and it was kind of blowing my mind. Either way, you should probably hit the like button because I literally read The Art of the Deal for this video. Anyways, back to the news. It was quite the shock when Trump announced yesterday he wanted Republicans to cease negotiations, especially with the election right around the corner, and we all know if he can get something passed, this will help him in the elections. The passing of the updated HEROES Act has been a major focus on most people's radar for the past months, and whatever party passes a bill will win some major brownie points with the American people. This is why it seemed crazy he would not want a stimulus bill passed as soon as possible. Many of his Republican Party members disagree with his feelings to stop negotiations. Representative John Katko said, and this is a quote from him, "I disagree with the president. With lives at stake, we cannot afford to stop negotiations on a relief package." And then another unnamed Republican lawmaker said, "I believe that President Trump's decisions would be improved, as would his political standing, if he actively sought and listened to members that represent communities in his country." Backtracing a bit, the president now wants to help the people out by getting those second stimulus checks out. So I know this video is a little bit all over the place, but it's because the news is all over the place. So I don't know how to, I'm making this as simple as I can. So we know Democrats do not want to pass any skinny bills, with the exception of the airline bill that was blocked in the House. They have been against knocking off issues like stimulus checks or unemployment one by one. Passing a standalone bill for the $1,200 stimulus check could open the door for other issues to be solved in a similar way. And this, of course, is not what Democrats want because it hurts Democratic negotiation power, and this dance continues to keep money out of people's hands that need it the very most. The New York Times reported this morning that Nancy and Mnuchin met to discuss a possible standalone bill for airlines, with the airline industry on the verge of some major layoffs. This is a critical bill to pass, and I would really like to see a standalone bill be passed here. You know, basically everything that has agreement on at this point, I think should just have a standalone bill. Let's take care of everything that has agreement and then worry about the rest later. The talk of stopping stimulus discussions also had a major effect on the stock market, which reacted immediately and plummeted within an hour of the initial tweet. Then after the emotional roller coaster ride of the tweets following the initial one, stocks have nearly recovered. So those have been all over the place in the last day as well. If you want to be a part of the investment chaos, well, it's a perfect time to jump into investing and grab a free stock if you use my link below with Webull, where you'll receive a completely free stock when you open an account and deposit $100. How was that for a segue? Not too bad. So we may want to start using Trump's Twitter feed as a market determiner these days. Can you imagine if you could send out a single tweet and make markets lose billions of dollars? That has to be a weird reality for the president. So here's where we're at in summary. The president is extremely hot and cold about what he wants right now, but it ultimately seems like he still wants some relief. I get the inclination that he just wants something to be done, period. Both sides have come together and said, despite Trump's initial tweet, they think more stimulus is needed and they should keep on working and keep on negotiating. And it seems like that's going to be the case. So maybe this will actually bring the sides together in this weird, twisted way. I know you might have felt down yesterday and felt like, okay, you know, this is never going to happen, I give up. But I really think that this isn't over yet. I think we'll still see something. Let me know how the $1,200 would help if Trump signs a standalone bill. Would you stock it away, pay some bills, or maybe you'd even buy your own copy of The Art of the Deal? Let me know in the comments. So this is all I have for today. I'd like to thank you for watching, and I hope you have a profitable day.